And it's the skipper, George Dobson. Saved off the post and then out he may, follows up. Takes a shot.
15 games remaining. That means it's 45 points to play for. But our recent form has taken us as close to the relegation zone as we could possibly be. It's today, the day where we start to turn things around. Lincoln City are the visitors this evening and come into the game unbeaten in 5 and on the back of 2 consecutive wins. Sitting 10th in the league, the Imps are 10 points ahead of the Addicts. Less than 45 minutes until kick-off. Let's take a look at what we've got coming up. We'll hear from manager Nathan Jones, who spoke to Charlton TV ahead of tonight's game. Charlton women narrowly lost in the Cup on Saturday and will preview a huge league game they have coming up on Sunday. And we'll take a look at the appointment of the new assistant manager, Paul Hart. Well, a warm welcome to everybody around the world. That includes, of course, the UK, as it is a midweek game. We hope you'd only have to pay £10 to watch a first win in a very long time indeed. Curbs and Brownie alongside me. And guys, before we look at the game this evening, should we talk about the golf? Curbs, shall I ask you how it went today?
No.
It was a bit like the rugby the other week, wasn't it?
Talk to Brownie.
They were close, Wales, but they didn't quite get the result.
So just explain, Brownie.
Well, it was Welsh versus English, wasn't it? And you, obviously,
Clewed in Curbishley.
of course, went Wales with Mumford. I mean, we did race into a very good lead early on, didn't we? I mean, to be fair, you made a game of
Then
it.
you both got tired.
I got to be honest, I got bored. We were so far ahead. I was trying trick shots and all sorts. Yeah.
Anyway, use one.
We were 5 up at one point, weren't we? Then you took it back to 1 up, and it went very close indeed. But Brownie and I
squashed them on the 17th, didn't we?
It was wet. It was wet.
It was very wet indeed, and we did well to finish it. But as ever, we try and arrange it, don't we? If we've got an evening game, if we can play golf together. So it was a good day, whatever the weather. Now, something else I want you to explain as well. We've just done the fear pong challenge as well, Brownie. Yeah. We touched on it on Saturday. Yeah. I think it's next Saturday that we're going to see.
Okay.
So what happened there?
What footage of it next
Saturday? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I pinged more balls into the cups than anybody else, so I'm taking that. So another win, Curbs. Another win.
So again, we touched on it, Curbs, where it's a table tennis table. You put it into, try and throw a ping pong into a cup, there's forfeits.
Does it bounce first or go straight in?
It bounced first, and I must admit, I thought we weren't going to get any in the cup in 2 hours of doing it, but we managed to finish it with a little bit of cheating.
Honestly,
Bob was brilliant as well, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Bob
Bob's always brilliant.
Was he?
Let's be honest with you, if you want one person in there to give it a bit of boom fist Bob, he was outstanding, yeah.
He was indeed, and you'll be able to watch the highlights, if there are anyway, and maybe the lowlights, on Charlton TV in the coming days. Obviously, all these challenges were for a very important cause, and we have to highlight that, and you can scan on your screen.
Yeah.
Liz was there.
Oh, right.
He was doing it.
How come he got in the ground?
That's what we said. He was late because he couldn't get in, sadly.
He actually wasn't late. He was the latest that lot of us, but he was 5 minutes early.
He has to tell everyone he scored a hat-trick against Liverpool to
That's
get in
the only way you can get into the Valley,
yeah.
isn't it? But look, you can scan on your screen to donate now. That money goes to supporting the PSA testing taking place at the Valley when we host Portsmouth on February the 24th. So if you possibly can, please sign up and donate as much or as little as you can. It's for a great cause, and well done to Tracy Leeburn for arranging everything. The egg on the head, by the way, that was Bob. And he did it on himself.
And it wasn't supposed to be him, but he did it anyway.
That is typical Bob. Should we talk about football? Because, we go from light moments to not so light. How big is tonight's game, Curbs?
Oh, really? Well, I thought Saturday, Reading, who had an opportunity to catch us and be on the same points or whatever, and tonight, we've got to get a result tonight because the run of games coming up against the top sides, we could be not just looking over our shoulder, we could be in it by then, and we don't want to be that way, so we've got to get a result tonight.
Yeah, we've got the top 3 in the next 3 games, Brownie, so how do you see tonight?
Yeah, again, we seem to be meeting another side that's found a little bit of form. They're very difficult to break down. They don't concede too many goals. They've drawn 3 and won 2 of their last 5. So, I think it's going to be a tight affair. Goes back to what we say most weeks. Can we try and keep a clean sheet? But it's a bit boring saying it over and over and over again. But these won't give you a lot. I don't think they've drawn with Peterborough, drawn with Derby, both 0-0s, I think. And they're going to come here and understand if they do that and they keep a clean sheet there, and there's every chance the way we've been defending that they can score a goal as well. So it's not as easy as it looks. It's probably the easiest one on paper, isn't it? And Red are in better form than them, so on paper it's the easiest one, but it's still a very difficult game.
I mean, Brownie's right, isn't he? Whoever we meet, wherever they are on the table, top, middle or bottom, they seem to be in good form, don't they? But it's about us tonight, isn't it?
Well, it is, and the big problem when we play here, I'm just looking at Lincoln warming up. They've got a nice ground and nice stadium, but teams are coming here and enjoying themselves, and and it doesn't help when the stadium's not got an atmosphere. Hopefully there'll be a lot more people in tonight because they're doing the free entry with season ticket holders. But when you've got empty stadium, if you like, and the players can hear everything, we keep saying this, but the players and the manager can hear everything what's going on. And the big thing is, when that happens, you go into safety mode. And they've got to express themselves tonight. And, if they see the pass, play it instead of going, I don't want to do that in case I give it away. And the crowd might moan. They've got to express themselves. And hopefully we get the result that we need.
I mean, the owners have put their hands in their pockets, both in the summer and in January as well. The squad, you would think, is there from a technical point of view. Is it about confidence, and how do you get that confidence back into the lads?
Pressure. I throw pressure into the mix. Coming to a club that I think people see it as and quite rightly so, a big club in League One. thinking it's, you know, I'll go down there and it's a great club to play for in League One, until you get here and we're under a bit of pressure and then the crowd's on you and you realise the expectation levels here are a lot higher than most League One clubs. It's not easy to play here, but people think it probably is. So then when you get here, the reality is quite different, and every mistake you make, every goal you concede just gets highlighted more and more. You're 13 without a win becomes 14. You know, it's difficult, mate, to play under that pressure. Well, I mean, there's different types of pressure throughout everyone's career. And even when you're at the top, and you said it's better to be chased down, is it? You better be up there. When you're up there and you've got to win every week, that's a completely different kind of pressure, but it's a pressure you've got to deal with nonetheless.
It's a better pressure than being down there, though, isn't it?
And this is what we've been talking. I've been talking about this on air over the weekend at Premier League games. Clubs that find themselves in positions that they're not used to being in, and suddenly you're fighting for relegation, and you shouldn't be, and you're not used to it. Yeah. It's an added pressure.
That's a big point. You know, dropping into a relegation scrap, you know, with 10 games left or 12, 13 games left, and you've not been playing in that pressure, and then suddenly it becomes pressurised. Funny enough, you know, I watched the game last night, Crystal Palace and Chelsea, and afterwards Roy Hodgson was talking about it, you know, saying that Crystal Palace are not in a relegation scrap at the moment, but could be. And unless they pick some results up soon, they will be in a relegation scrap. And for the last couple of months, they think they haven't. But suddenly, they could be by the end of this weekend or next week.
So do you think we're ahead of them in that, and actually we are in it? No one can argue we are in a relegation
we
scrap.
are.
And then it's a different type of fight mentally.
Yeah, I would imagine the only person who's going to walk in here tonight going is Nathan, to be fair. He's just turned up. You know, he's signed on the dotted line. He wants to be here. He signed a long-term contract. And he's been here before, so he understands the club. So I think he's coming in, not knowing the team, but he's coming in full of beans, hopefully. Some of the players might not be. And it's up to him now, as I said, that the big thing is express yourselves. Don't go into a shell, because once you go into that shell, you're not going to do yourself any favours or the team. So hopefully they come out tonight with a little bit of confidence.
We'll come on to the team in just a second, but a final one, Curb. Season ticket holders have been able to bring a friend for free. How much can that help?
Well, I'm looking forward to that, because I think over the course of time, some of the initiatives that the club have took on board has really been helpful. Certainly when we first came back, I think it's a good idea, because Tuesday night against an opposition that ain't going to bring too many fans, we need to get more people in it to build up the atmosphere. So hopefully, I'm looking forward to seeing if it makes a difference, because if it does, the club might start thinking about that from now on until the end of the season, to, as I say, to get more people in it, to make an atmosphere.
OK, plenty more to get through and get stuck into as well, but let's hear from Nathan Jones, who spoke in his pre-match press conference yesterday.
You've only had a short amount of time, to analyse your first game in charge. Has it confirmed just how much hard work we've got ahead of us?
Well, we knew that before we came in, you know, and the players have been really responsive. And as I said, I know the old cliche is Rome won't build in a day, and you don't build big things in 3 or 4 days. What we do is set in place a bit foundations. I thought there was a lot of good things that come out of the game on the weekend, but we just didn't defend too long throws. If we defended that, we could have come away with a clean sheet and said, look, there's a little platform to work on. We want to be better in all levels, but that comes with time.
Yeah, and so you've seen that. With that, you've seen firsthand what we've seen a lot as fans this season. Some good moments, some positive aspects of the game, but then individual mistakes or lapses in concentrations have really hurt us through the whole season. On the face of it, that seems quite a difficult problem to overcome.
Yeah, but you just got to keep doing the basics right. Look, what we're telling people, we haven't given them anything, you know, groundbreaking at this point to do. We just want them to do the basics right. We want to get a bit of confidence back in the group. As long as they work hard and they're front-footed, that's all we can ask of them. Then we'll add structure, then we'll add quality, and then, look, it's a good group, it's a talented group. It's just getting the most out of them, and that's what we're endeavouring to do day by day.
And since we last spoke, you've had another familiar face to Charlton fans, to your team. Former Academy Director Paul Hart, you were waxing lyrical about him in your last press conference. You'll be hoping to recreate, and the fans will be hoping you can recreate the success that you've had together, both at Charlton and elsewhere.
Absolutely, but it's important to get good people around you. There's a lot of good people at the club, but the staff needs building. So what we need to do is to add and to get and improve every department, however that is, whether that's new personnel or whether that's developing current personnel. And Paul's someone I trust, someone that's got a vast experience, someone who knows the club, and someone who's very good around players. So all those things we will utilise here.
And you said also that win, lose or draw against Reading. We're only a short distance into a journey, and Paul's added to that, I'm sure, to build a better club, basically, and foundations for a better club. I'm sure that's still the message you want to send as we look ahead to Tuesday in Lincoln. Yeah, absolutely. Look, as I said, we're in 4 days. We've been 5 now, or 5 or 6. We were in yesterday as well. So every week, I hope that we see a difference. We see a better, more front-footed team, and in every aspect, and then we can start to build. Points are important, really important now, but also the substance behind them is important that we build. But as I said, it's going to take a little bit of time, but points have to come quickly. It's a strange time to be a Charlton fan. We have got the excitement, for one word, and looking forward to what's coming and what you're building. But in one hand, and on the other hand, you've got the sense of nervousness and possibly a little bit of fear of the position we're in and what could go wrong. So do you get that? Do you sense that as you come in? No, I don't, and we can't focus on what could go wrong. What we've got to focus on is what we're going to put right and what we're going to do. What the positive things will be. That's all we do. Because there's a talented group here. It's just putting it into a formation, getting the best out of it, and making sure that it's confident and doing the right things. But we don't look at what could go wrong. What we do is what's going to go right, and that's the thing that we're looking at. You also mentioned last week that the squad situation is in a better place than certainly I thought it might be coming into Saturday and then beyond. We saw Panush Kamara back in the squad and back on the pitch, which was great to see. Is that a real positive for you, those long-term injuries now getting themselves fit? It took some to get back to training, quite a few of them back training, with the exception of Miles. Yeah, absolutely. I want as many headaches as I can, in terms of metaphorical ones, in terms of picking really, having a lot of strong players available. Now, Chuck's coming back, Panucci coming back, Heck's not far off as well. Gives us real good depth, plus everyone else is fit, so it's some difficult. It's a difficult choice to pick the 11, and just as difficult to pick the bench, and we want those conundrums, Yeah, and obviously fans will have seen the news about George Dobson and the move at the end of the season in the summer to Hungary. How does that affect George for the rest of the season? Still a Charlton player, of course, and he's still focused on producing for the. Don't affect anything. As long as George is at it, and as long as George is George, then everything will be fine. Perfect. Beyond Tuesday, we've got a fairly difficult run of games, but Lincoln themselves will be quite a tough test. They don't score many, but they don't concede many either. I think there's only 4 better teams than them defensively in the division. So you'll be expecting a tight game. Well, I know the staff there. My old assistant is there, and I know that it'll be a very, very difficult game. All games are difficult. I don't look at it, and after it we got Bolton and Portsmouth. I don't suddenly think, wow, they're difficult games. They're all difficult games for different reasons. You look at Reading, different form, fighting for their life, and it was a tough game. Tomorrow being a tough game, and they're all tough games. What we have to do is concentrate on us, and that's the focus now. Is concentrate on us, being the best version of ourselves, improving week in, week out, and then getting points. Look, sometimes these things take a little bit of time and to gel and to play a different way and so on, but there's a group there that want to get better, the group want to learn, and there's some talent in the group. So those are really positives. Then it's down to me now to build that, to manipulate that into a formula to get points, and that's the only thing that's really important now.
Yeah, well, there's lots to talk about there, isn't there? So let's have a look at tonight's 11, shall we? In total, Nathan Jones makes 5 changes from the side that played at the weekend, including some of those. Kane Ramsey will make his full debut for Charlton this evening. George Dobson returns to the starting lineup. Well, look on the left-hand side there as well. Chuck Sanike, he's back fit. He's on the bench, involved in a matchday squad for the first time since sustaining an injury in Charlton's 4-0 win over Reading back in October. I mean, where do you want to start, Brownie? I mean, interesting, Kane Ramsey's been given a debut straight away.
I think we've got to start really with how we're going to score goals, because Saturday we had 1 chance on target. It was Daniel Kanu. He come off the bench, So how can we make ourselves a bit more of a formidable force going forward to score ourselves a goal this evening? I mean, you've got to push those wing backs higher for a start, in my opinion, which leaves Thomas and Edmonds Green a little bit isolated in wider areas when we split and try and play out. I'd love to see Alfie score a goal, Scott. You know, we're sort of getting to that point now where it's becoming a bit of an issue. You know, 5, 6, 7, 8 games without a goal or 1 goal. You know, so I think we have to focus on getting our noses in front, because at the moment when we fall behind, and when we fell behind Saturday, I think there was a sort of feeling in that 3,000. It's not like they suddenly roared and got behind him. It was almost like, oh.
It's interesting you've gone that way, because you normally go the other way.
Well, I'll tell you what,
I'm fed up talking.
I'll tell you what's interesting,
about
Curbs. I'm sitting next to him, and I feel like it's just absolute doom and gloom.
Yeah. Well, it is. No, it's 13 without a win.
But normally he talks about we've got to keep a clean sheet. We've got to keep a clean sheet. But now it's spun round. Well, we've got to keep a clean sheet. We've got to keep a clean sheet, and we've got to score a goal.
Absolutely.
That's it, and we're going to win.
But you give up on that because you say it every week, and we don't.
Yeah.
All right, Brady, do you want to go, or do you want to leave the studio? You okay? No, still all right to crack on until kick-off?
No, I'm good to go. Listen, but you asked me a question, we need to score a goal.
I think we're the same as the fans. You know, we're desperate to see us get a result. And what comes first? You know, are we going to start scoring again, or are we going to keep a clean sheet? I think Nathan has spoke about clean sheets, because at the end of the day, the run we're in, we're not doing either. We're not keeping clean sheets and we ain't scoring any goals. That's why we're in the mess we're in.
What do you think then about Daniel Kanu coming in for Freddie?
Well, I think he offers something. Listen, Freddie is not 100% fit. He's come from. He's come on loan and he's had to get fit in our first team, which is always a problem. So I think he's lasted 65 minutes, then 75, whatever. And I think what Nathan's done tonight is 3 games in a week. He's gone the people that ain't 100%, like Gillespie at the back, who's come in on, from Plymouth and probably wasn't playing there or whatever. I think he's gone and said, I've got to put some more legs in there, and that's why he's made so many changes.
I mean, the reason you focus on goals is because when you take Alfie out the side, there's nothing in there. There's nothing on that team sheet that scored more than, I think, Kanu's next best with 3. And that's why I think you've got to sort of get yourself on the front foot, and we've got to have people step up to the mark today. We've got to need a goal from maybe a set piece from a centre half. We need a midfielder to drive in the box to get us a goal. You've got Alfie on what it is now, 20. Behind that, I think it's Kanu on 3. There is no goals in that side as it sits statistically. And that's why they've got to get on the front foot.
Yeah, I think when you're down the bottom,
I don't even want to watch the game now.
No, but when you're down the bottom and you're having a run like we're having, they're the 2 conundrums, aren't they? Can't keep a clean sheet and you ain't scoring any goals. That's why you're down there.
Listen,
I think that's something. I'm joking. I'm joking with you, but you're right.
Nobody wants us to win more than me tonight. Let me tell you. It's just that you're asking questions and there's no easy answer when you're on the run we're on. What do you want me to say? Dress it up. I think we're favourite. We're 13 without a win.
You don't have to dress it up.
No,
but what's Nathan got to do here? That's the question.
Be positive. Be more positive than me, by the sounds of it.
I think the other thing is, when you talk about the psychological thing, so we do score first. We haven't won for so long. Then do suddenly mentally all go, sit back and invite a bit of pressure, and then the crowd get edgy and whatever. It's very difficult. When you're playing well, things all go according to plan. When you're not playing so well, things hit you, own goals, penalties that perhaps won a penalty, offside goal that wasn't. Things start going wrong for you, and we've got to turn that around. And I think Nathan has made these changes tonight for 2 reasons. One, I think lack of fitness in certain players, and 2, some energy and some legs.
In the warm-up, Curbs, did you ever look at the players and see who kind of like looks up for it and who doesn't? Did you have a little word with them when they first came in? How important is this part of the game for you?
No. I think I never watched the teams warm up, but I think during the training sessions they'd have come in on Sunday, and Nathan would have walked around the place and felt perhaps who's up for it and who ain't. I think personally, Chuck's coming back is a big lift.
Massive lift.
It's a big lift for everybody, because you're right. I mean, Alfie, I think, has gone off the ball, and that's what happens to strikers. He's gone off the ball a bit, and perhaps he needs a little bit of help. You know, Daniel's going to play up there with him today, but I think like Chuks is totally different. Big, strong, and occupies centre backs. Well, that means Alfie can start manoeuvring around and dropping off and going wherever he wants to go, really. And you know, Chuks can take the weight. So let's hope Chuks gets on and stays fit.
And interesting, Karoi's come in as well, and looks like he could be like a number 10.
Well, it's another set of legs, isn't it? He's leggy. He can get up and down, back and sell can.
Yeah, I just think
And Dobbo in, of course.
Dobbo as well, yeah. I mean, he's been in the news, hasn't he, Dobbo, this week? And it's I don't quite understand it, actually.
We'll touch on him a little bit later, but in terms of the impact of him coming back,
I mean,
do you feel it is?
He's had a calf injury. Okay. You know, now the window, or it looks like the deal's off or whatever, he's now fit. You know, I don't want to read too much into that, but he is the sort of player I would think gives everything in training, and as we know, we've seen him for the last couple of seasons, gives everything when he plays. But his situation is a bit. I think it needs to be explained a bit more. What has happened? You know, I've come into the game tonight, and I'm hearing there's pictures of him with his new team, you know, with the shirt, and he was going and now he isn't going. And Nathan's saying in the interview just there, well, he's got the right head on. I hope he's got the right head on, because Dobbo's Dobbo. You know, it's a difficult situation. Perhaps, you know, if it all goes well tonight, we need to get Dobbo on and find out what's going on.
Well, there's plenty more to talk about. As I say, we'll talk about Dobbo a little bit later on. But let's have a look at the rest of the games, shall we, in Sky Bet League One, because every game matters from here on in right now, doesn't it? Games we'll be looking at include Burton against Carlisle. Cheltenham are in the relegation zone. They host playoff chasing Blackpool. Exeter have hit some form and welcome Derby, while Fleetwood against Reading is a huge game. Good news, or I don't know if it's good news, but Peterborough Port Vale has not long been called off, so we can't end the night in the relegation zone, while Portsmouth host Cambridge and Shrewsbury welcome Barnsley. I mean, Brownie, lots of games to watch out for, but not Peterborough Port Vale, which surely was the big one, wasn't it?
Yeah, you know, there's a big appointment for them today, and that could turn around their season. What it does mean is by the end of this evening, they're going to have 3 games in hand on us. Cheltenham will still have the 2. And what you hope for tonight, Scott, is they all come unstuck. You know, you hope Blackpool go to Cheltenham and beat them comfortably. The Reading Fleetwood one is a bit of a tricky one, but Reading with 1 loss in 12, you probably want them to win actually and keep Fleetwood down at the bottom end of the table so that gap doesn't get any tighter. But yeah, it kind of tells you where we are when we're looking for teams below us to lose. You know, we just got to concentrate on us, really, Scotty. Try and find a way to get back to winning ways and hopefully build a bit of confidence.
Yeah, I mean, look, there are some tough games for the teams down the bottom curve, so there's every chance that teams will drop points, which we have to take advantage of that, don't we, tonight?
Yeah, I think, you know, people talk about when you're in this position, you've got to worry about yourself, but you ain't. You've got to worry about yourself and what's going on around you. And yeah, I didn't know that game had been called off until you just mentioned it. But I went straight to what Brownie was thinking. Blimey, they could be 3 games in hand. I know everyone talks about it, don't want games in hand, but they could be 3 games in hand if we don't get a result tonight, you know. So, yeah, we've got to get a result tonight. I don't think that's too much to ask.
Yeah.
You know, we're playing Lincoln at home, we've got to get a result.
Yeah, although we've said that before this season, haven't we? But look, 6 teams separated by just 4 points. Hopefully we'll be out of it, but you get the feeling that the relegation's scrap in League One will go to the wire.
Yeah, I mean, we've got... You get this one out of the way and we go Bolton away, that's as tough as they come, I think. And then you go Portsmouth here, which, strangely enough, the head-to-head.
Well.
Yeah, that's the one you look at and you think, if we're going to get a surprise result...
Can't rely on that,
they're
can
top,
you?
no,
and the atmosphere, no?
They're top and they're flying, right, and they're flying. And that's a manager at his first attempt, and he's just got them clicking, and they had a little blip, he's got them back on track, they've got a little gap to second, but they are the ones out of the teams we're playing that we do seem to get a result against. And then after that we've got Derby, who just showed us what they're about. They're a bit like tonight, very difficult to break down. They sort of lure you into a false sense of security, and then they hit you with one great opportunity and they win 1-0, and they've been doing that for weeks and weeks. So it's a little tough run we've got, and I think that's why tonight is, you know, we say it every week because we're not winning, but tonight is absolutely
the last 2
vital.
games, Reading, was a 6-pointer. Obviously Lincoln are mid-table, but when you're at home, we've got to get results tonight. As simple as that. And that's what I went on. You know, if we do get our nose in front, the mental side of it comes into it. Then you know what it's like. You've both been there, dropping off, and then the manager's trying to get you up. You know, it's very, very difficult because the 3 points are the most important. So if we are going to get into that situation, let's hope we score with about 5 minutes to go.
Absolutely, and we need the character that you showed today, 5 down and nearly came back to draw the
I wasn't on my own. Well, I thought I was on my own for a little while.
Well, the men's first team are struggling at the bottom of the table. By the way, the under-21's got a very good 8-1 win at Ipswich. The women's team are top of the Women's Championship, narrowly lost to Spurs in the FA Cup on Saturday. Unlucky Brownie, but Karen Hill's side doing so well at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah, I think they will kick themselves, because that's brought Crystal Palace back in a great result against them the week before. Clean sheet, brilliant, and that just gets them back within striking distance of the game, and 3 points gets them level, and they've got a far superior goal difference. However, I think they did enough to win. By all accounts, from what I read, that against Lewis, who were struggling, it's just one of those days. I think they scored with pretty much their only shot on target, and then we dominated and couldn't find that second goal.
But having got knocked out of the cup now, is it, you know...
Yeah, let's concentrate on the league.
Absolutely. You know,
did Karen say that?
I don't know if she did say that, but is that what you do say? Is that what you kind of, you know, actually we can focus all our attention, you turn every negative into a positive?
Yeah, but I think it's true. I think it's true. Okay, it's nice to have a cup run and that, but most important is to win promotion. And they're having a great season, and they're going into this final stretch. Can they keep it going? I mean, I think she's won Manager of the Month the last 2 months.
Yeah. You've made sure of that.
I made sure of that, yeah.
No, she's made sure of that.
No, but I made sure of it as well.
But on a serious note, actually, I think you won one or two promotions, didn't you? So you know a thing or two about it.
Yeah.
From here on in, what are the sort of 1, 2, 3 things that you need to do to make sure you absolutely bang on it?
Well, I keep on about consistent team selection, which is a big thing. You know, that only comes with consistent results. But if you are going for promotion, you're getting them results. So the players know, you know, they come in on a Monday, they roughly know the team on the Saturday, you know, unless there's something goes on in midweek, like an injury or whatever. So consistent team selection, which I'm sure Karen's having at the moment because of the results. Time off. I think that's important. There's no fitness issues going into the last stretch of the season. You know, so get them away from each other, you know, so when they do come in and train, they're full of enthusiasm.
How much pressure is there on the manager to do just that? Because especially if the results haven't gone well.
It was easy for me.
People, well, but no, people might turn around and say, you didn't win at the weekend. Why have you given them an extra day off or something? When actually you know that's the right thing to do from a psychological, mental point of view.
If I was asked the question, I'd go, what's it to do with you?
Yeah. You'd say that to the press.
If you're flying, you can say what you like.
Yeah. Well, it's down to us. But no, I think players pressurise like now. I mean, it's different for Nathan. He's just come in, but sometimes you just need a break.
Absolutely.
You know, and then they come in after a couple of days off. I know it sounds terrible, but they come in after a couple of days off full of enthusiasm. Hopefully, that's the second thing.
Knowing you're going to run. If you give someone 2 days off,
well, you run before.
Or the day before we get our 2 days off.
And also, I think the relationship, like when you're going for it, it's better now even when you're struggling. The relationship between the manager and the players, you know, when you're winning, that's fine. There's no problem. But when you're not winning, and that's why Nathan is coming into something and he ain't got that pressure. But when you're not winning, it's a bit difficult, you know, to be pally with everybody and, you know, and come in all nice and jolly, but somehow you've got to do that.
Yeah. Well, Karen's Charlton host Reading on Sunday. That game is at the Oakwood, so please, if you can, get down there and support the side as they chase promotion to the Women's Super League. As well as Nathan Jones, a familiar face returned to Charlton last week in the shape of Paul Hart. Paul was appointed assistant manager, and Brownie's clearly someone Nathan knows very well and trusts.
Absolutely, and comes with bundles of experience. Managed himself, took our academy way back. I think we're talking about the 2011 year. I think he came in under Jimenez. So he's got.
Powley?
I think Chris was manager. Yeah, you know, so he's got experience of the football club, knows it. And like I said, I think when you bring in a coaching staff, it's vitally important that one of them has been there, seen it and done it, and Paul is certainly one of those. He comes with vast amounts of experience.
You ever come across him?
No, not really. I just wondered, has he been with Nathan before? Or?
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah. No, only just like when he played, just, you know, etc. No, I don't know. But I did hear something, I don't know if Nathan said it, but he has a grizzle every now and then, apparently.
As you get older, you tend to get a bit more grizzly.
He has a grizzle.
I'm about 75 tonight.
Then once you reach a certain age, you go the other way, because Curbs is all happy.
He's only got, what you got left?
1,000 weeks.
No, you haven't got 1,000 left. You said that.
1,000 weeks.
You said that 50 weeks ago.
Yeah, you said that over a year ago.
weeks.
That's another story anyway, about what his doctor said to him. Let's keep on the subject of Paul as well. I mean, he was the academy director from 2011 to 2014, Curbs. So how much will that help in the
So
fact
they both know the club?
Yeah, he and Nathan know the fabric of the club.
I did say, like last week, that it's just little things about knowing your way about, you know, knowing how to get to the training ground if there's a hold-up over there, and, you know, just that, been to the club, understand it.
He won't live on the other side of the Blackwall Tunnel.
No, they all live this side.
Yeah.
There's only certain people who live the other side. But no, I think also Nathan has come in and he's done a couple of things. Firstly, I want to be called the manager, which is interesting. And then he's brought his staff in, or a member of staff that he trusts and he knows from way back when. So, and also Paul knows the club. So yeah, be interested to see the dynamic. You know, big man, little man. You know, we was having a laugh today because, you know, I'd have Mervyn winding me up incessantly, and then Keith calming me down.
He was the good cop, Keith.
Yeah, and it all depended who got me first. Well, I see it this way. Oh, yeah, you're right. No, calm down.
Yeah. The devil on the angel on each shoulder. Okay, George Dobson missed the derby game with a calf injury. Didn't play against Reading at the weekend either, with all the rumours swirling. Nathan was asked a few questions about him in his pre-match press conference.
First of all, George, just wanted to ask you, the Hungarian club said that a deal was agreed for this window and that basically Charlton pulled the plug on that. I wanted to ask if that was right, and if so, who actually made the decision to stop the deal going through this month for their transfer window? There was
an offer and a provisional agreement in place, providing all parties agreed. And in the end, we didn't want to do it. We didn't think it was in the interests of Charlton Athletic Football Club, so we made that decision.
Is George someone, you obviously come in and some decisions and certain things have already taken place. Is George a player that you would have liked to have retained beyond this season or not?
All I'm focused on is now. We have to do. I've known George for a long time, and certain situations I can't control because a lot of things are done before I came in. All I can control is what in the here and now, and I want George to contribute to doing well for Charlton and laying those foundations, and that's what's happening.
You touched on it, I think, when Terry asked you, but does the fact that he's effectively lined up another club, does that affect him in terms of your game time here, or will that be down to George and the way that he kind of performs? Yeah, absolutely. It'll be down entirely to George and his motivation for the next sort of 2.5 months. Is he actually, there was pictures of him holding up their shirt, is he in the UK at the moment, or is he training with you guys still, or is he coming back from there now the deal's not happening? Well, I don't know where he would have got the shirt from, but he's actually in the canteen, so he's here. But it's not all about George Dobson here. We've got a really big... George is staying, and he's staying till the end of the season. Is there an option for him to stay longer? Probably. If he chooses not to, that's fine, no problem. But all I'm focused on is right now, and George is part of that, and everyone else is focused on getting the results to get us out of the situation we're in and to build for the future. That's the only thing that's important now.
Fascinating, isn't it? We all think Dobbo has been a very influential member of the team over the last couple of years. How do you see it, Curbs?
Well,
and also what Nathan's done there?
There's a couple of things, you know. As George, what did the club offer him for him to stay at the club? And has he turned it down, or was his Was what he wanted was too high for the club to pay, or etc., or too long a contract. Whatever. We don't understand. We haven't been.
We don't know all the ins and outs.
We don't know the ins and outs about
yeah.
the contract situation with the club. All we do know is it looks like he's signed a pre-agreement, and it looked like he was going to go for a small fee, a bit like Corey Blackett, who went to Derby
for a bigger fee.
For a fee, because it happened now instead of waiting to the end of the season. Listen, unless I've been watching a different game or different games over the last couple of seasons, George has been the most consistent player in my eyes. He's played virtually every game. He's vastly underrated, in my opinion, as a midfield player. I think people talk about him getting around the pitch, making tackles, breaking things up. His passing range is excellent for a midfield player. I think if he was given a little bit more lease to get forward, he might be a little bit better at that, making a goal and scoring a goal. But he's been an integral part of the team, so why hasn't he not signed for us? Is it because his demands have been too great? Or is it because we don't fancy him? Which I find very, very difficult. It looks to me, and I may be wrong, that Nathan has come in and gone, hold on, I really rate George Dobson, and I don't want him to go. But he'd already signed this pre-contract, so it makes it very, very difficult. Listen, only we ain't heard from George. I would expect him to perform like he normally does, but enough difficult when you're out of contract in the summer or you've pre-signed something. You know, is the motivation still there? So I think we're going to find out tonight.
You're asking for his professionalism more than ever now, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
After what's happened.
Yeah, and because we don't know the ins and outs, as it's been seen with a picture parading the other team's shirt and etc., which wouldn't go down well normally, but he's George Dobson. I think the fans understand his predicament. He's out of contract. I understand he wanted to stay. Now, was his demands too great, or did the club not offer him a fair deal? We don't know, because no one's come out and said the story on that side. All I know is, and I've said it quite a few times, he's the sort of player that we would appreciate at the training ground and on the pitch. And, you know, for most of the squads I've had, he'd have been in it.
Brownie?
Yeah, I'll give a different slight. Miscommunication seems in quite a considerable way, that you have allowed someone to think he was leaving and then you've dragged it back, and the only bit of sympathy I guess I can give is to Nathan, that he's come in late on that and decided, like Curbs has said, to go, oh, hold on a minute, I'm not comfortable with that, I need all the help I can get here till the end of the season. Then you are absolutely relying on a player that, in my opinion, has been absolutely messed about. And he's been messed about because there's a miscommunication above. However that miscommunication's come about, and we don't know, and whether it's a miscommunication between George and the club, between people at the club, it's come about. And it's led to this horrible situation where our player of the year, our most consistent player, is holding up someone else's shirt thinking he's away.
Underrated player.
Yeah, and it generally what happens is because we're changing managers, because we've had this run of results, you get these little things creep in because you've got your eye and your concentration levels are on all different things, and so something can creep up on you. But either way, it wasn't ideal in the situation we're in. Let's be brutally honest about that. It wasn't ideal at all. And I agree with the pair of you. I think we're relying on George's good nature because, listen, if that's pre-signed, it's done. He's gone.
It's interesting.
You don't want to get
because as a manager, I've had this situation before where players have wanted to leave, especially when I went to the other place. But players wanted to leave, and you know, I said that's fine. I'll let you go in the summer. If you perform for me between now and the summer, I'll let you go. And you know, Brown was there. There was a couple of players got to the summer. They wanted to go. They went. But I wanted to make sure that they would give it their lot. If they didn't, I wasn't going to let them go. Simple as that. You know. So, but it's a bit different with George because his contract's run out. You know, I had players at West Ham whose contracts hadn't run out and wanted to leave, but the window had closed. And I basically said, look, and I just turned up. You do the right thing, and I'll do the right thing in the summer.
No, can I just go on?
There's one more situation that you could throw in there is this Triple Eight, and where the club see George in the Triple Eight and where George sees George in the Triple Eight, and what comes with being in the middle eight or the top eight in terms of finances, length of contract, etc., etc.
Just explain what Triple Eight is.
Well, they've got this scenario where the top eight are championship-ready players that they're going to bring in. The middle eight are squad players, and the bottom eight are kids and squad, outside the squad trying to get in. And if George sees himself as a top eight, but the club see him as a middle eight, you've got this uncommon.
Yeah, so that's 24. That's 24 players
as a squad. Yeah,
I think we've got about 35, haven't we?
Yeah, which obviously will need to be worked on in the summer. Yeah.
Okay, look, we could talk about Dobbo for a very long time, but just a reminder for those at home watching on YouTube and Twitter to please get your live streaming pass for today's game for just £10 to be able to watch Charlton TV's multi-camera production of today's game. And don't forget on the WhatsApp as well, +4473.